Let me just share with you a pyramid, pyramid that I created to represent, I guess, the challenge that we have and the different layers. To be successful, diversity and inclusion needs to be embedded across the organization. Okay, it's not something that you can just do in one corner, set up a employee resource group and job's done, or do some unconscious bias training and we're good. You need to have policies and procedures in place to promote equality, to promote fairness, and to avoid discrimination. You need to have the right organizational design in place. You need to have representation that supports diverse voices. You need to have networks, committees, and your decision-making mechanisms need to consider representation. It needs to be built into your strategy. So it needs to be at the core, built into your strategic objectives. You need to have the right practice in place. So your day-to-day activities have got to be conducted in an inclusive fashion. So the example there around team socials or something like that is a really good example. And as we've already touched upon, the culture has got to create the values, the behaviors, the feeling of belonging where everyone can be their authentic selves and thrive together. And then you need to have leadership at the top where the tone is being set and you have diverse role models. People cannot be what they cannot see. So these are the layers, and today we're very much focused in on leadership. So the reason I wanted to show you this was to say, we're not going to solve it all by leadership, but you've got to get the leadership piece right. And as you as leaders start exploring your own sort of personal your own personal role as a leader, you can also start to explore what you can do within your organization. And as you do that, you can explore these different layers within this pyramid. So who is responsible for the diversity and inclusion? Ultimately, everyone is responsible. This is something that sits on all of our shoulders. And leadership needs to prioritize it. Leadership needs to build it into the strategy. Leadership needs to give it sufficient resource, act as good role models, but you still need to have the policy in place, and HR would typically be the ones who are doing that. You still need to operationalize it. You still need to build it into the way that you operate. So your hiring processes, for example, or the way that you work as a team, if you're running team meetings and you want those team meetings to be inclusive, there are ways of making meetings much more inclusive, and it's up to management to operationalize that. And then it comes down to all staff. We all need to behave inclusively. We all need to behave as role models, and we all need to challenge behavior that we see that is not inclusive, discriminatory, or exclusive, because it's those challenges that actually shift behavior over time. So to summarize our role as inclusive leaders is to create an environment of involvement, respect, and connection where the richness of ideas, backgrounds, and perspectives are harnessed to create business value and impact. That's the summary. That's what we're trying to do. It's about ultimately, it's about creating business impact. It's about creating value, and it's about involving everyone, creating that environment of respect and connection.